Hello, this is Mr. Colsey, Lacey Township High School Library Media Specialist. I'm proud to present this year's recommended summer reading list. The books on this list were chosen by members of the High School Student Reading Committee, which is represented by students and teachers. The committee carefully reviewed each book on the list. Of the 85 books the committee had to choose from this year, 45 made the list and are recommended to the students of Lacey Township High School. On this list, you will find many genres to choose from: mystery, fantasy, thriller, horror, science fiction, historical fiction, realistic fiction, in addition to a few nonfiction titles. After viewing this video, please refer to the student reading list and slideshow to make sure the book you choose is appropriate for your grade and reading preferences. The list and slideshow can be found by scanning the QR code below or by checking the school website under the summer reading link. Also, please refer to the school webpage for any summer reading assignments. Finally, on behalf of the Student Reading Committee, I would like to thank the Lacey Township High School PTSA for their generous grant and the Ocean County Library for providing many more books for the committee to consider. Without them, this list would not have been possible.
A Starlet's Secret to a Sensational Afterlife by Kendall Culper. Grades 9 through 12. Genre: historical fiction, mystery fiction, paranormal, and romance. Henrietta is a new Hollywood starlet. After her close friend Midge disappears, she becomes suspicious of the studio she works for, given the amount of other young starlet disappearances. If this isn't strange enough, she can also see ghosts, the ghosts of missing girls. With their help, can Henrietta and her boyfriend find out what happened to them while still keeping her image intact?
American Wings: Chicago's Pioneering Black Aviators and the Race for Equality in the Sky by Sherry L. Smith and Elizabeth Wine. Grades 10 to 12. History, nonfiction. After World War I, Americans became enamored with aviation. Unfortunately, blacks had to go outside the U.S. to become pilots. That is, until the formation of Chicago's desegregated National Airmen's Association of America, created in the 1930s to teach whites and blacks aviation skills. By World War II, black pilots were ready to take on fascism in the skies, inspiring future generations of African Americans.
The Ballerina of Auschwitz by Edith Eger, for grades 9 to 12, is a memoir and a Holocaust nonfiction book. As a young Jewish girl, Dr. Edith Eger was a talented dancer and gymnast. Life wasn't all sunshine and rainbows when World War II broke out during her teenage years. In this memoir, Eger tells how she persevered alongside her sister while at the infamous Auschwitz camp and about the family and friends she lost. Despite these traumatic events, Eger shows how hope is never lost.
Banana Ball: The Unbelievably True Story of the Savannah Bananas by Jessie Cole. Grades 9 through 12. Baseball, nonfiction. This book details the brains behind the Savannah Bananas, a mock baseball team that puts fans into the long, drawn-out game of baseball. Fans attending a Bananas game can expect to see pitchers on stilts, dad bod male cheerleaders, senior citizen dance teams, trick pitches, and all sorts of shenanigans designed to speed up the game and have a good time watching it.
Bittersweet in the Hollow by Kate Pearsall. 9 through 12. Dark fantasy fiction, mystery, thriller. The women in Lyndon James's family have different magical abilities. In their small town of Cobble Hollow, there is a legend about the moth-winged man, supposedly the town murderer. When Lyndon temporarily disappears, he's thought to be the reason, but Lyndon can't remember what happened during her abduction. Can Lyndon use her experiences from her abduction to help others who suffer traumas?
The Brightwood Code by Monica Hess, grades 9 to 12, genre historical fiction and mystery fiction. Etta St. James was a hello girl during World War I, which means she served as a telephone operator translating conversations between English and French speakers at rapid pace. One day during the war, Etta's world changed when she forgot the code word Brightwood and 34 men died in the trenches. That mistake still haunts her, and when she returns home after the war, as a telephone operator, co-worker is mysteriously killed. The culprit calls Etta and says one word to her: Brightwood. Now Etta and her friend Theo have to uncover the truth behind the collar just as they discover secrets between themselves.
The Buried and the Bound by Rochelle Hassan, grades 10 to 12. Dark fantasy fiction, LGBTQ+ fiction, humor fiction. Leo, Tristan, and Aziza have gotten tied up in magic in one way or another. Eventually, they cross paths and reluctantly agree to help each other defeat a common enemy that threatens them and the people they love. The trio has to make a lot of sacrifices along a perilous journey through the woods. Can they learn to work together to end the violence and evil threatening their town?
Cruel Illusions by Margie Fuston, grades 10 through 12. Fantasy fiction and romance thriller. Vampires killed Ava's mother. Now she wants revenge. When a group of magicians invite her to join their secret society, Ava has to first survive a dangerous competition against other magicians to prove herself. And if this problem isn't enough, Ava's love is torn between two boys.
Delicious Monsters by Lizelle Samberry for grades 9 to 12. Horror fiction, paranormal fiction. Daisy can see ghosts. Brittany is a journalist investigating Daisy's past 10 years later. Daisy moved into an inherited house full of secrets and hauntings, but these ghosts are of murder victims who died in Daisy's house. Years later, Brittany, who doesn't believe in ghosts, has a YouTube channel that tells these victims' stories. Will Brittany's investigation into Daisy's life change her mind about ghosts?
Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, grades 9 to 12. Fantasy fiction, romance fiction, and LGBTQ+ fiction. Iris wants to be a newspaper journalist, but she's competing with Roman for the same job at the Oath Gazette. Little does Iris know that she and Roman have more in common. Both can communicate anonymously through magical typewriters. When war rages around them and they become separated, they learn to communicate with each other to continue their relationship. Will Iris and Roman's relationship survive the war?
Funeral Girl by Emma Oland for grades 10 to 12 is a ghost story fiction and LGBTQ+ fiction. Georgia Richter has lived above Richter Funeral Home for her entire life. Being surrounded by death is difficult for her because she has the power to talk to deceased spirits. Overcome by her grandmother's passing, Georgia decides to help the spirits fulfill their last wishes, which will get them to the next life. When Milo from her English class dies in a car accident, Georgia is again forced to deal with grief and mortality. Can Milo help Georgia learn to overcome her anxiety and family problems?
Game Changer by Neil Shusterman for grades 9 through 12. Coming of age fiction, fantasy fiction, sports fiction. Ash is a great football player who enjoys the rush of tackles. All is well until one hit sends him into an alternative universe where things slowly start to change and become the opposite of his normal life. The more he gets hit, the more things change. As Ash investigates these new realities, he begins to see the world from various perspectives. Soon he questions his own beliefs, understanding the impact of privilege and choices. Ash's story explores the themes of identity, social justice, and the interconnectedness of our actions.
The Glass Girl by Kathleen Glasgow, grades 10 through 12, realistic fiction. 15-year-old Bella struggles with alcohol addiction after her grandmother dies and her boyfriend breaks up with her. After a party where Bella passes out due to her alcohol poisoning, she winds up in a rehabilitation center. There, she must come to grips with her addiction and learn to care about herself, just as her loved ones care about her.
Gorgeous Gruesome Faces by Linda Chain, grades 10 through 12. Horror fiction, thriller fiction, mystery fiction, and LGBTQ+ fiction. Sunny Lee's life collapses when her friend Mina dies. As a result, the ex-TV star looks to reconnect with her former co-star and BFF Candy by attending a K-pop workshop, which includes a fierce competition. As the K-pop contest gets down to the wire, Sunny finds herself haunted by ghosts from her past as things get deadly.
Make Me a Liar by Melissa Landers, grades 9 through 12. Mystery fiction, thriller fiction, fantasy fiction, romance fiction. High school senior Dia Dante is an immersionist who can head hop into another person's body with their permission. She offers her services to classmates for a fee and enjoys the work, especially when she can eat whatever she wants when taking over their bodies. During one particular job while she's away from her body, it is taken over by someone else and used to murder the town's prosecutor and commit other federal crimes. Now Tia's in trouble. To clear her name, she must enlist the help of her best friend Val and her ex-boyfriend Nash.
The -1 Club by Kekla Magoon, grades 9 through 12, genre realistic fiction and LGBTQ plus fiction. 15-year-old Kermit just lost his sister in a car accident when he finds a mysterious note in his locker asking him to join a mysterious club called the -1 Club. The club is for kids run by kids in the school who have lost a friend or relative in their life. The club has only 2 rules for its members. Don't tell anyone about the club and never talk about death. Ever. But that just forces them to bottle up their emotions. In the closet, Kermit finds himself falling for Matt, a boy who lost his mom to cancer and whose family does not accept him. As Kermit finds his place in the club, he realizes the club members are avoiding their feelings. Will Kermit be able to change the club so it can truly help its members?
Missing Clarissa by Ripley Jones, grades 11 through 12. Mystery fiction, thriller fiction, LGBTQ fiction. Popular cheerleader Clarissa Campbell disappeared from a party in the woods outside the town Orville, Washington. The police questioned everyone. Thanks to Clarissa's beauty, the mystery captured the nation's attention. There were no leads or DNA left on her body. The case grew cold. 20 years later, Orville High School juniors and best friends Blair and Cameron started a podcast, determined to find out exactly what happened to Clarissa. In the process, they uncover many small-town secrets, the truth about Clarissa's relationship with her boyfriend, and that a high school art teacher had a good motive to have her disappear. As the art teacher's possible guilt rises, the 2 teens must decide if they are willing to destroy an innocent man's life and help a killer walk free, or will they explore other possible motives.
Moonstorm by Yoon Han Lee, grades 9 through 12, science fiction. Hwa Young's home moon, Cerulean, gets destroyed by the Empire, and she becomes an orphan at 10 years old. With little time to escape, she is picked up by an Imperial pilot who claimed the Empress would care for her. After years of schoolyard harassment, 16-year-old Hwa Young becomes an Imperial pilot and learns much of her past told to her by the Empire was a lie, especially about the fate of her home moon. Will this discovery be enough to shake her allegiance to the Empire and everything she has come to believe over the past 6 years?
The book Not About a Boy by Maya Hollis for grades 10 to 12 is a realistic fiction book. Mel has grown up in the system waiting to get adopted. Now is her last chance before she ages out of the system to find a home. However, she's a recovering addict who recently faced the loss of her boyfriend and struggles to open up to those closest to her. Just as she starts to get by, she begins a new relationship with a guy that becomes more than casual. This worries Mel because she doesn't want to lose another thing in her life. Will Mel learn how to set goals for herself even though the thought of failing in grief might be the result?
The Queens of New York by E.L. Shen for grades 9 through 12, realistic fiction. 3 close friends from Queens, New York are separated for the summer in different places around the country. Each chapter focuses on one character. Gia stays in Queens to help her family's Chinese restaurant. Everett, an aspiring actress, goes to a performing arts summer camp, and Ariel attends an academic camp. They keep in touch through email and text, sharing their experiences. Can the girls learn to cope with life as they face both positive and negative experiences away from each other? Read in Tooth and Claw by Lish McBride for grades 9 through 12. Mystery fiction, thriller fiction, fantasy fiction. Fallon's grandfather dies, and now she can't keep the land she grew up on because she's not old enough. She's been dressing like a boy for years. If anyone finds out she's a girl, she'll be married off. Instead, Fallon is sent to the settlement, which has a very cult-like feel to it. Weird events begin to unfold, and Fallon and her friends have to get answers before it's too late.
Remind Me to Hate You Later by Lizzie Mason, grades 10 through 12. Realistic fiction, mental fiction, and romance fiction. This is a story about 2 girls, Jules and Nat, BFFs since they were children. 17-year-old Jules grew up with her life all over the internet. Her mother would constantly share stories about Jules' life and her parenting struggles, completely disregarding Jules' privacy. All this becomes too overwhelming for Jules, and suddenly she's gone. Now, Nat has to pick up the pieces and learn how to handle Jules' death and confront problems within her own family. If that's not enough, Nat might be falling for Jules' boyfriend, Carter.
Saints of the Household, R.A. Tyson, 9 through 12, realistic fiction. Brothers Max and Jay have always depended on each other for survival. Growing up with an abusive father, the 2 boys learn the way to protect themselves and their mother is to keep their heads down and stick together. When they hear their cousin Nicole having trouble in the woods after school one day, their instincts take over and they intervene by beating her assailant, the high school's star soccer player. Now, the whole school hates them. As a result, they are sent to therapy to work through their problems. But soon, the brothers fight each other. Can the boys learn strategies to deal with each other and the traumas caused by their father, or will they forever be branded as the bad boys with no future?
The 7% of Roe Devereaux by Ellen O'Clover, grades 9 through 12. Romance fiction, realistic fiction. Roe creates an app based on the childhood game MASH for her senior project. It predicts key parts of people's future, their profession, their partner, where they will live, and how many kids they will have, if any. Before she realizes what's happening, Roe's dream starts to become true and MASH becomes popular. But things get difficult for Roe when the app matches her with Miller, an old friend. Now she has to make life decisions about herself instead of other people. The question is, will she be able to cope? Shadowed by Carl Duker, grades 9 through 12. Realistic fiction, sports fiction. Nate abandons the sport his parents want him to play and substitutes a new one. He meets a new student named Lucas and the two become basketball buddies. Unfortunately, two older, more popular athletes goad Nate and Lucas into some dangerous behavior that leads to someone's death. Now Nate has to learn to manage his emotions, deal with death, and still perform on the court and at school. Can he make it happen, or will he give up?
She is a Haunting by Trang Tung Tran for grades 10 to 12 is a horror fiction and LGBTQ+ fiction. Jade agrees to spend her summer in Vietnam helping her estranged father restore a French colonial house. The house isn't ordinary. It's haunted by angry spirits. Soon, Jade discovers secrets lurking within the house's walls. Jade struggles with the ghosts and with her own identity. Before it can consume her, Jade will have to confront the house.
Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken, grades 9 through 12. Fantasy fiction, Arthurian legend retelling. Tasman was born immortal with no magical talent. When she and her brother Cable are left without a guardian, they have to learn to live without them. As Hollowers, thieves who work by hire to find magical artifacts, they get an impossible job. Will Tasman overcome the dangers headed her way or lose to her enemies?
Spells for Lost Things by Jenna Evans Welsh, grades 9 to 12. Romance fiction, fantasy fiction. Willow is a travel-loving teen, but when she has to spend her summer in Salem, where they once burned witches, she isn't too happy. Soon, she uncovers her family's magical past. When Mason enters the picture, things get even more difficult for Willow as she tries to help him deal with his family problems. How will Willow and Mason learn to find their places in the world while learning about true love?
Spirit Sleuths: How Magicians and Detectives Expose the Ghost Hoax by Gail Jarrow, grades 9 through 12, history. Spirit Sleuths is a history and a warning for our time. It traces the spiritualism fad of the 1840s in the United States through the seance craze of the early 20th century when death was part of life. People believed they could communicate with lost loved ones thanks to mediums. But these were frauds out to make a quick buck from grieving people. In response, magicians like Harry Houdini and detectives like Rose Mackenberg went on a quest to reveal the secrets used by these mediums on the unsuspecting American public. But do things ever change? The author wonders if Americans are still susceptible to cons and scams because of emotion over reason.
Stars and Smoke by Marie Lu, grades 9 to 12, thriller fiction. Winter Young is a pop star loved by all. Sydney has no personal ties to anyone. Together, they must find a way to stop billionaire Eli Morrison before he can release a biological weapon that can kill millions of people.
Stateless by Elizabeth Warren, grades 9 through 12. Historical fiction, mystery fiction. British teen Stella North loves flying. When her instructor encourages her to join a flying competition as the only girl against male contestants, Stella doesn't know if she'll succeed. Meanwhile, tensions are running high in 1937 as her European competitors face a looming Nazi threat. When one of the pilots is murdered, Stella has even more to worry about, trying to keep the world at peace and solving a murder mystery.
Stay Dead by Abel Henry, grades 9 through 12, mystery fiction and thriller fiction. 16-year-old Milan is the daughter of a senator. Unfortunately, she is also the lone survivor of a horrific plane crash where her mother and everyone else on board died. Now she must survive in the snow-covered woods while eluding to the assassin who supposedly caused the crash. As Milan struggles to save her life, she uncovers a conspiracy that will change her world forever.
Such Charming Liars by Karen M. McManus for grades 9 through 12. Mystery fiction, thriller fiction. Kat and her mom, Jamie, work for Jem, a jewel thief. They've had a rocky life. Kat's dad was an abusive and both escaped him, only for Jamie to fall in love with yet another toxic man. Now Jamie wants to go legit, but Jem assigns her one more job: to steal a priceless necklace. After someone turns up murder during the heist, Kat has to figure out the culprit in order to save her mom.
Sun Keep Rising, Kristen R. Lee, grades 10 to 12, realistic fiction. 17-year-old Bianca struggles to navigate life's challenges as her drug addict mom goes in and out of her life. She dreams of going to college one day and opening her own salon, but things change when she gets pregnant and something happens to her baby's father. As a new mom, Bianca must finish high school while providing for her child as a single mother. Things aren't easy as the reality of eviction mounts. Add to that, her neighborhood is changing and not in the way she wants. Can Bianca learn to deal with the harsh realities of life? Swarm by Jennifer D. Lyle, grades 10 to 12, horror fiction, science fiction, thriller fiction. Cher is a teenager who suddenly has to deal with the apocalypse. When she sees massive butterfly-like creatures, she thinks they're beautiful, but soon she realizes they're deadly. Cher and her two brothers and two friends are holed up in Cher's house, and these giant killer butterflies turn victims into zombies. Now without electricity, Cher and the others have to learn how to survive. Can Cher keep everyone safe and keep her own mental illnesses in check?
The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, grades 9 through 12. Genre: mystery fiction, thriller fiction, romance fiction, and realistic fiction. 7 contestants compete on Hawthorne Island in a high-stakes game filled with puzzles and challenges. As they do this, each member has their own problems. Lyra seeks answers about her dad's death, Gigi and her twin have deep and dark family secrets, and Grayson Hawthorne, who likes causing tension among the players. Alliances get formed and broken by betrayal. Each contestant will have to overcome their problems if they want to win the ultimate prize.
The Lake House by Sarah Beth Durst, grades 11 and 12. Mystery fiction and thriller fiction. 3 girls are sent to a summer camp their parents used to go to. When they get there, they find it has been burned to the ground and the camp director murdered. Now, they have to find a way to survive on the island and hide from the murderer, who is hunting them down.
The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson, grades 10 through 12. Mystery fiction, thriller fiction. Rachel Price has been missing and presumed dead for 16 years. Her daughter Belle is content with her life and family until one day things change. When a documentary about Rachel's disappearance is in the works, she reappears. When she tells her story to the documentarians, it changes slightly each time. Soon Belle is convinced Rachel is trying to hide where she truly was and is determined to find the truth. With the help of Ash, the cameraman, Belle starts to unravel secrets within her community and even her own family. Will the truth be what she hopes, so everything can go back to normal, or will the truth ruin Belle's life?
The Secrets We Keep by Cassie Gustafson, grades 10 to 12, realistic fiction. Freshman Emma is very shy. When she finally makes a friend in Hannah, things seem to be going in the right direction. But when something happens to Emma's dad, it becomes clear that Hannah might be involved, if not responsible. Now Emma has to get her life back together as she learns to deal with family issues she's been avoiding.
There's No Way I'd Die First by Lisa Springer, grades 9 through 12, horror fiction, dark humor. Noelle is an influencer and produces horror-based content, discussing horror movies and the characters in them. She wants to increase her follower count. To do this, she hosts a party with top influencers at a secluded mansion when things take a terrible turn and a guest is murdered. Will Noelle survive the night knowing a killer clown is after her blood, or will she outwit him with her horror movie knowledge?
This Indian Kid by Eddie Chocolate, grades 9 to 12, memoir. Eddie Chocolate may not be famous, but he has made his career as an editor at major newspapers around the country. This memoir is a testament to his remarkable story about resilience growing up in Oklahoma during the 1970s and 80s as a Creek Cherokee Indian. He recalls his life from childhood through high school years and gives readers what it was like to be a kid in the good old days. Chocolate's young life was filled with uncertainty because of the numerous family and housing changes he experienced. But he had one constant in his life, his grandma. He excelled at sports and learned he was a writer thanks to his teachers. This is an inspirational story that will speak to many readers, giving them a reason to nurture and capitalize on their talents.
Two Sides to Every Murder by Danielle Valentine. Grades 9 through 12. Horror fiction, thriller fiction, and LGBTQ+. 16 years after the devastating murder spree at Camp Lost Lake, the camp can finally reopen, but lingering secrets and a killer on the loose threaten the lives of two girls, one born at the crime scene and the other trying to prove her mom's innocence as the alleged witch of Lost Lake.
Under the Surface by Diana Urban. Grades 9 through 12. Thriller fiction, LGBTQ+ fiction. Ruby and her friends split off from a school trip to explore the catacombs underneath Paris, accompanied by a handsome French teen who assures them he knows his way around the tunnels. They get lost and soon realize that they are being stalked by mysterious figures wearing skull masks. Will their classmates find them before Ruby and the girls are trapped under the surface forever?
We Are Hunted by Tommy Oyman-Kinde. Grades 9 through 12. Horror fiction, thriller fiction, and thriller fiction. Femi and his older brother are forced to go on a mini vacation with their dad to an island resort. There isn't much information about this island as it's newly discovered and each attendee must sign a non-disclosure agreement. Once there, his family finds a futuristic land with animals and plants of new species to admire. But strange things are happening as Femi soon realizes he must fight for his humanity and get off this island.
We'll Never Tell by Wendy Hurd, grades 10 to 12, mystery fiction, thriller fiction, LGBTQ+. High school senior Casey has always had a rough understanding about murder. Her mother was a victim, and the topic leaves her feeling uncomfortable. So when her friends decide to enter a notorious house where murders took place to film their final YouTube channel episode of We'll Never Tell, Casey isn't thrilled. As the group is filming, an alarm is tripped and they must leave before the police arrive. But one friend doesn't make it out alive. Now Casey has to figure out what happened that night, but it's not going to be easy when so many of her friends seem to be lying.